All right, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to go through my latest project. I created an Amazon bot. It should take in any Amazon URL and check out that item for you using Selenium, which has been fantastic to learn. I'm using Selenium 4 in Python 3.10, and all of this is just done in VS Code. I'm also using time to do a couple different sleeps, so it takes some time in between each command. But yeah, let's go through the Amazon bot class that I made. So it initializes with username, password, and product URL. It has a couple different methods, one to log into your Amazon account, one to add the product to your cart and click checkout, one to checkout. This isn't going to actually check out. I don't want to spend any money, just checking to see if it works. So I'm using this is enabled function. It checks to see if a button is able to be clicked or able to be selected. And if the place your order button is able to be selected, then it prints that it was successful. Shipping selects your default shipping method. We've got payment, does the same thing for payment. And then close session, which will quit your session at the end when you're done. And then get URL, which is used to just get the current URL of wherever your driver is. All of these things, like I said, are separated by some sleep functions so that it can simulate more of a human clicking through their website rather than a bot. I was having to authenticate a couple times through two-factor authentication because it thought someone else was signing into my account. So that's important that you add that in there. I found that about 4 seconds is about as low as I could go before they started thinking it wasn't me. So then I have a main function. It takes my bot class. I'm loading all of my passwords as an email from a text file. I'd say that's pretty important. Don't post these on the internet or in your code. That's a big no-no. You don't want your password or your email just floating around out there. So yeah, then it asks for a product URL. This doesn't work with every Amazon URL yet. It's an ongoing project, so I hope to get it there someday. But right now I know at least it works with this Amazon Basics for AAA batteries, at least like 90% of the time. Sometimes there's some cases that can trip it up. But that's one thing I found, especially with Amazon, their pages are so dynamic that there's so many different pop-ups that can come up that you may not anticipate or haven't written in like error handling for in your code. And so you can run into a lot of problems based on the URL you're putting in, whether that's it trying to get you to subscribe to a service rather than just buy it once, or trying to get you to buy a warranty or protection on something after you add it to your cart. All of those things are pop-ups and they prevent my program from being able to find the next thing to click on. So those are all future editions of adding functionality to make those work. But anyways, so with that URL, it'll prompt you to paste URL. You can paste any you want to see if it'll work, but I know this one does again. So then it creates an instance of your Amazon bot class with your email and your password and the URL you put in. Then it adds a product to that product to your cart, logs you in, goes to do shipping. The payment doesn't quite work yet. The HTML ID for the tag, it kind of changes sometimes. So that's another error case that I have to compensate for. I only have one payment method right now, so it doesn't really matter. And then it checks out, which is just checking to see if it's able to check out. And then I'm adding some future functionality in here that I couldn't quite get working yet. And I want it to be able to send an email to yourself after it was successfully able to get you to the checkout screen. So basically I'm using this SMTP library to set up an SMTP server with Gmail. You could use, I guess, whatever email client you want. I'm using Gmail, and it can send an email from an address to another address. This is the body I would include. So I just say the item has been added to your cart. Go to this link to check it out. And that's where I'm using that get URL method from the class in order to get the checkout URL from our WebDriver in Safari. So then This isn't working though. I need to debug it a little bit. It's just going to the exception case, which is why we have exception cases. And then finally, it'll close your session, so it's not just left running forever. So let me run it. I'll have to stop it pretty soon. I don't want my email and everything getting out there, but I can show you it clicking a couple things before I have to stop it. But so we started up. Let's copy this URL for the AAA batteries. We can copy that in, and then you can see it loads up the page. If my internet will cooperate. Let's see, I need to try again. Let's run it again. Paste our URL, loads up the page, we get our batteries. You can get go to your cart and everything, but I do not want to share my email with you guys. And my password, well, it'll hide my password, but also some other information is on future pages. So yeah, it will sign you in. It'll input your email and your password, and then it'll take you to the checkout page. And then it would print at the bottom here that it was successfully able to check out with your product. So yeah, that is my bot. Like I said, there's a lot of functionality that is still needed. It's definitely not perfect. But it was a great learning experience, learning how to do some automation with Selenium and Python. The documentation for Selenium is exceptional. So if you're considering building a bot, or you want to dip your toes in and start learning a little bit, even if you're not going to build a bot, but just start doing some automated tests on software that you've written, Selenium is a fantastic option, and I would definitely recommend using it. There's web drivers for a ton of different browsers. You don't have to use Safari. They have a web driver for Chrome, for Microsoft Edge, for Firefox. I use Safari just because I didn't have to download a web driver for it. You can just go into the Safari developer options and enable automation, and that's all you need, which was very simple if you have a Mac. Yeah, and that was basically it. Again, error handling is going to be added in the future, going to get this email client working. But other than that, I'm really stoked with how it turned out. I think that it's a great tool. I think that there's a lot of ways that bots can be used unfairly, but I think as a learning technique and a way to use to just get the products that you want to get when you're competing with other bots, I think if you can build it, then why not? So thanks for taking the time to check out my channel and to watch this video. If you have any questions, my contact will be in the README on GitHub. Shoot me an email. I'd be happy to go over anything that you're curious about or just chat. So thanks for stopping by. I'll catch you next time.